got a fair bit of the thing done. Takes a while to build these four-wheel drive cars. There's a lot to them. Hi, it's Tony from Hearns. We're finally on to part 3 of the G-FORCE Xtrada build. We've got a fair bit of the thing done. Takes a while to build these four-wheel drive cars. There's a lot to them. This has been a good and a bad build. Most of it's pretty good. There's just a couple of little things that didn't quite work out, but all sorted now, and I'll give a lot of credit to G-FORCE here. They're very much keeping things up to date. They post stuff on their Facebook pages if there's any issues that they find, so they don't try and hide behind it. They go, okay, we made a mistake here, we'll fix that up. So we're on the last part of it now. When we finished on part 2, you might remember, or you might not, depending on how bored you were, how far we got. And I've actually jumped ahead a couple of bits. I figure you didn't want to see me bolting the shock tower on and the wing mounts on. They're already done, and I've already done one side of the rear suspension. I thought, because most of it's pretty simple, there's nothing new here, so we'll start on the rest of that now and start finishing this thing off, then on to the transmission. And there's not really a whole lot left. Most of what we need is sitting here in front of us. Again, very conventional, all of this. Couple of bearings and the hex. They need tiny fingers to hold this. Probably should go and get Carla. Her fingers are small. Gotta just keep manoeuvring it. Eventually you'll get it in. That feels about, yes, that's good. Now I happen to know from past experience when we have a tiny little screw that goes in here, and that's the one that holds it. Okay. Good. Put the inner hinge pin in and slide that over. You'll notice I've already put the shock on. Now, so I've got this side on. We will need a dog bone in here at some stage. I'll just put it here, because I need to flip that over and screw that in. So that's a 3x20. Put the dog bone in, that around like that. Push that through, and the nylon knot that goes on the end here. No, that's too big. I want a 2mm. I want a 2mm. Here we go. And screw that up. Dog bones in. Now I just need the upper shock mount. That will use one of these tiny little things here. That's going to go here, and the shock goes 2 in, and it's a 3x18. Yeah, that looks like a 3x18. And that gives us one side done. I'll turn this around. It's not much good for you visually as it is, but anyway. Get that. Got one spacer that we need. Push that through. How about we push it through from this side, which is the way it's supposed to be. This is what happens when you don't look. I've just been assuming, oh, that'll be fine. Well, it won't be. Little spacer. Push that through. Right, another one of the instances where I've got to get this through, and to sit there without going all the way through. Oh, yes. Rarely does that work that well. Usually it falls out 5 times. So we'll screw in here, just the head of this just holds the pin in so it doesn't come out. Turn that round. Alright, got that in. Now we need the upper link. Well, I'm looking for a ball stub, which I cannot find. There it is. That is a 2mm. And that goes in the middle here. Okay. We'll snap this on. And we want that. Remember, it's 3x18 just from the other side. That goes through. Check the 2 in from the outside. $3mm nylon nut. I can hear someone yelling, TFG, you forgot to put the dog bone in, which I did. Okay, that's alright. In again. And then once I've done this upper link, I can put the right hand side shocker on. And we'll be getting close to the end of the suspension. Okay, that's pretty good. I'll turn all this all around. On this is not great for you, but it's all down here, so we need to put that on, and you've got to make sure this is correct so it goes down. So that encapsulates the hinge pins, and then this is the little rear bumper holder, whatever you want to call it. These are 3x10s. We'll just get this started. There you go, you'll be able to see this a little bit better. Actually, what am I doing that for? Got that. Now all I need to put this rear shock on, and it goes in the inner. Flip that over and put it in here. That's good. Got oh, I've got that upper shock mount. It goes in there. It's 2 in, and we'll put. I'm going to call that rear suspension done. I built these shocks, well, for you it might have only been 10 minutes ago, but it was actually probably a couple of weeks ago. They don't feel too bad. There is optional alloy body shocks. They're exactly the same size, even though they call them alloy big bore. These are actually big bores anyway. Right. Home stretch? I think so. Let's turn over a page or two. One. Then put another one in. Again, a bit difficult for you to see. Makes it even harder because everything's black. Okay, let's assemble the slipper clutch. There's a little pin in here that has to go in. Okay, that's in. There's a bearing that goes in the middle of the spur gear. I'm going to put that in now because that's important for later on. Let's just tip this up this way so you can see what's going on. Right, that's centered now. Now there's a tiny little wash up, which is this one here. Then the spring. And then the nut. Now, you need to tighten this up and everything will slip when you try and do that. So, what I do is, I try and hold the spur initially, and then try and, you need to hold the spur and the belt if you can. You need to get it through so there's about 2 mil sticking out of past the nut. Alright, I'm going to leave that for now. That looks pretty good. Spin it round, everything's seated properly. You see nothing's out of whack. Normally we'd have the motor in at this stage and the pinion gear on. Well, that's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is just put the plate on anyway, and the plate's held on by 2 little 3x6 screws. Grab those. One there. And there's a hole just here, which is so you can get to the slipper from outside without having to pull anything off. And there's a little rubber bung that goes in there. And like most of these things, it's not much fun to get it in. That's the trick. Resist the temptation to use a hobby knife for your wool cutting. Done. Upper belt cover. And if that isn't reminiscent of an awful lot of cars from the 90s and 2000s, usually they were done, it was just a Lexan piece. In this case, it's a solid molded plastic piece. Now, there's lots of little screws that hold this on. For the moment, I'm actually only going to put a couple in, because the chances are I'm going to pull some of this apart later and make some small changes. So I'm just going to put this on. Whoa, that wasn't in place. Don't worry, it hasn't broken it. Put that on just enough so that you can see it. see it in place. Now in the instructions the servo would go in next. I'm not going to do that because I've got to decide what electronics I'm going to put in. I may have said in an earlier one that it was going to be an Orca Totem, which is probably still correct. However, I haven't decided what motor. I think I said in part 2 of the assembly that I was going to go for a 21.5. I'm thinking now more of a 17.5. I've got both of those available, so that's good. And while I'm playing around with there, why don't I put some wheels on? These feel pretty good, reasonably soft compound. I've already put them together with the foams inside. The G-FORCE foams are always amusing. When you get them as a separate item, it doesn't say foam, it's called bubble buggy insert or something. I know it's bubble buggy, and that amuses me and Brett quite a bit. Put these on. I don't know how well these would go on our Australian tracks, but they're certainly worth a try. They don't feel too bad at all. Get over there. Once you start putting the wheels on, suddenly you have got yourself a buggy. It starts to look serious. I'm going to say overall, this has been a nice build. The quality of the parts is exceptional. It's very, very good. I've got no qualms about that. There's been a few little errors in the instructions and stuff, but that's okay. I can live with that. As I said just earlier, G-FORCE are right on top of it, and any problems they're letting people know. Okay, I'm not sure that that's correct. No, there's a little bit too much camber on that left hand one, so there's something not right there. Yeah, not entirely sure what that is. What I'm going to do, a quick fix for the moment, before you clip the upper link back on, put the dog bone back in, spin it round, that's in. Okay. It's still not perfect, but it's pretty close, so it's easy enough fixed. I can get that sorted out sometime later. Now once we've done this, we're going to move on to a fun part, which is only going to take a minute. There you go. That's where the battery goes in from underneath, and this is how it works. That fits in at the back like that. You just push that in. It clips up and you push this forward and that locks it in place. That's how the battery works. I'm going to say now we're very, very close. Next thing up for me will be at home, probably on this weekend. I'm not sure. Sometime soon. What I will do is go over the car, check everything, because being built on camera, it's a bit different to building it yourself at home. You've got to try and do it a lot quicker and make it a bit more interesting. But the car itself is basically finished. Now, there are some wing spacers in bag eye. Chamfered, you probably can't see that to tip the wing up. So I'll just cut them off the sprue. They sit like that. The Genova uses a similar system, so I'm familiar with it. It goes on like that. Pins go through from the side. One. This one is a bit tougher to get through. Come on, you bastard. Winger's on. You're thinking, DFG, where's the body shell? Here it is. Fully painted. This is my traditional race scheme. It's the one that I use on most of my cars now. It's a grey background, actually it's a couple of shades of grey. And cartoony graphics. My off-road cars have fluoro orange, my on-road cars have fluoro pink. And this is just a matter of going like that. And that, my friends, is the G-FORCE Xtrada 4-wheel drive buggy. Really looking forward to putting some electronics in this thing and giving it a run. I reckon it's going to be pretty good. Certainly the reports that I've read out of Japan so far, that it's quite competent. So it'll be an absolute pleasure to give this thing a run. So hope you've enjoyed watching this. I got a few things wrong, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's all part of the experience. Once again, I have to mention, we do not sell this car at Hearns. We're just doing this one as a bit of a community service. I bought the car because I just wanted to see what it was like. So if you want to, you can import them yourselves from Japan. But it's, for the moment, it's a curiosity car, but still well worth looking at anyway. Thanks for watching. This is Tony from Hearns. We'll see you next time.